I've done speak for me. May the work I've done speak for me.
One word to describe Miss Lelia Francis is that she was a business icon in the city of Dayton. She was indeed a very elegant lady that you would not miss her in a crowd. She stood very tall, even though she was not tall physically, but her presence was beyond you overlooking her. She also never accepted no for an answer. She pursued in spite of everything. She lived each day looking for new opportunities. She certainly, in my estimation, laid the groundwork for all of us. Miss Francis impacted this community just overwhelmingly. She was a name that was reflected on most of the individuals that I knew because of her business savvy and her ability to get things done. She is a legend in this community, and also she's a legend among the realtors. I've heard realtors throughout the USA speak of her very highly as a person that they would look up to and try to achieve the kinds of goals that she had achieved for herself and for this community.
Exuberant would be the word, and I say exuberant because Miss Francis was alive, very much alive all the time. Miss Francis was an advocate. She was always out front voicing her concerns and advocating for African American people in this community. So Miss Francis' presence in Dayton will always be remembered, I'm sure, in the real estate community and in the civil rights community. She served for years on the NAACP board and in other areas that was very prevalent toward African American people. So she will be remembered for her legacy will live on in many of the things that she did. If Miss Francis was here today, I would say you have been a great contributor to the well-being of the Dayton area community, and your life has exemplified what I feel a good business person and a good community servant should be, and I would salute her for that.
She was just an outstanding, magnificent person. Her personality was just marvelous. She knew how to treat people on a business level as well as on a personal level.
You couldn't tell her no. You couldn't tell Miss Francis no. She always knew how to talk to people and well enough to get what she wanted to get done.
She wanted the minority people, which at the time naturally were black people, to have the same experiences and the same rights that any person had in the nation, to sell real estate or just to be noticed in the same experiences and the same rights to do anything that anyone wanted to do. And she was the one that was instrumental on seeing that that was done.
If there had not have been a Mrs. Francis, and with her aggressiveness, we as a community, as the African American community, would not have moved forward as quickly and as smooth as we had. Her being able to offer us the things that we needed to learn how to do business made things change that would not have changed, because all of her salespeople that were with her at one time or another had went on to have their own offices, and we did go at one time. We had over 18 real estate companies in this town, and African American real estate companies, and 90% of them came from Francis Realty Company.
Well, she influenced people. If you wanted to be something, she backed you. If you know, she encouraged you to do things, and not only that, while you were saying all the things why you couldn't do it, she was telling you all the things why you could do it, and she was just like a mother to me. I rented an office for a space from her from 1963. And that's when I first met her, got to know her. And there's just so much in this city that she got behind and pushed that would never happen if it hadn't been for Mrs. Francis.
Mrs. Francis, how are you today? I've been calling you for the last 2 days. I am requesting to show one of your listings on Paul Laurence Dunbar Street. I have a customer who's interested in seeing that property. Is it still available? Okay. Well, how may I gain access? It's not on lockbox? I'll have to come and pick up the key. Okay. I will be right over. Thank you. That day, I was taken by surprise. I'm rushing as usual, running late as usual. I arrived at Mrs. Francis' house, and when I got there, I'm expecting to reach out and say, give me that key so I can go show this property and get on back home, back to the office. And she says, come on in. Come on in, Mrs. Diggs, and sit down and have a glass of tea with me. I was mesmerized. I was there with her for 2 hours, and the knowledge and information that she shared with me was overwhelming. We started asking each other questions. So my question to her was, Mrs. Francis, may I ask you a question? She said, sure, ask me anything. Why aren't you a member of the Dayton Area Board of Realtors Multiple Listing Service? Her reply to me was, emphatically it was, because I don't want to. You see, Mrs. Diggs, when I first got my real estate license, blacks were not allowed to be a member of the Multiple Listing Service. I applied, but I was turned down. So I just chose not to ever join or affiliate. Oh, they have invited me over the years, but I just decided I made it on my own then, and I will continue to make it on my own.
Charles Francis, Lelia Francis was my mother. I was the first child. Elaborate would be that the things that she did was first. She was the first person that I can remember that stood up in Lexington, Kentucky, took her 2 cousins into the white-only bathroom because the black bathroom was not working. This is Lexington, Kentucky, 1939. And she did it without flinching. Nothing was said, nothing was written about it. But that was kind of important in those days, 1939. She was always the president of the PTA. When I was fortunate enough to be on a basketball team at Dunbar, which was an all-black school, she was instrumental in getting us into the City League. Well, I think David made a remark, you know, along with my father, they probably were the 2 most instrumental people in bringing racial equality to this city, and very little has been mentioned to that fact. Neither one are on the Hall of Fame, and they were dogmatic players. Both worked in the ACP, both of them were realtors, you know, both of them were first in all those things.
A wonderful, great lady, an African-American lady, one of the greatest. She changed it as a whole to make us see what we as Black Americans have to go through with in order just to operate. And, you know, because most of us, we were afraid, you know, because
we move into an area and the police are there trying to run us out and things of this sort. So she made a difference, a tremendous difference of us thinking the way we think today. It is about time that we give Mrs. Francis the praise. I just wish she was living to know that that's what we're doing. Maybe she's looking down on us and saying, because it is time.
My name is Nancy Francis Freeman, and Lelia Francis was my mother. I would say absolutely fearless. There was nothing she wouldn't try if she believed in it. She believed that she was as good as anybody, and everybody was as good as she was. There's so many things. There are people right now that come up to me and say, I wouldn't have a house now if Miss Francis didn't say, I'll give up half of my commission so that we can have the down payment or whatever the situation was. Even at this time in my life, I get people coming up to me with stories about her.
Seems like nothing at all. But when I stand before my God, I want to hear Him say, well done. May the work I've done, oh Lord, speak for me. May the work I've done speak for me. May the work I've done speak for me. When I'm resting in my grave, there is nothing that can be said. May the work I've done speak for me. May the life I live speak for me. May the life I live speak for me. When the best I try to live, my mistakes He will forgive. May the life I live, oh yes, speak for me. The work I've done, it seems so small. Sometimes it seems like nothing at all. But when I stand before my God, I want to hear Him say, well done. May the work I've done speak for me. May the service I give speak for me. May the service I give speak for me. When I've done the best I can and my friends don't understand, may the service I give, may it speak for me. The work I've done, it seems so small. No, sometimes it seems like nothing at all. But when I stand before my God, I want to hear Him say, well done. May the work I've done speak for me. The work I've done, it seems so small. Sometimes it seems like nothing at all. But when I stand before my God, I want to hear Him say, well done. May the work I've done, oh Lord, speak for me.